Let's get busy.
It is podcast time, and I'm curious to know, because I've got what appears to be two very strong-willed women here who are promoting this event. Fuck That Guy Fest. And this, breakups are hard, especially if your ex is an asshole. That's the first sentence of this detail of this event. And I'll just leave it there, and we'll go from there. Camila, Virginia, my new friend Virginia. What's up, ladies? Where y'all coming from?
Well, about a year ago, I had a pretty awful breakup with a pretty awful guy. Left me with considerable debt and no way to raise funds. And my very good friend, my ride or die, which we're still riding. We haven't died yet.
Not yet.
Thank goodness. We offered to host a benefit event.
This was last year.
Last year,
because this is the second annual.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So last year being the first annual, everything was still kind of fresh.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I drank a lot of tequila beforehand, and
Still MC'd it
yeah,
and killed it.
Kinda. I just rushed everybody and went off scripts. I didn't even have a script, but I definitely went off of what I would have said had I been collected and sober.
It's all good. Well, I mean, last year the hope was so that we could raise money that Virginia needed because her ex-fiance had taken quite a bit, along with hurting her on a lot of different levels. And so I was like, well, I'm broke. I know that a lot of our friends are broke, but the one thing that I can do is we can set up a benefit show for you, and we can help you raise the funds you need. But let's look at the larger picture of this and try to help more families that definitely need this. So we also made it a drive for the Center for Women and Families, which provides resources and advocacy for families in domestic abuse shelters across the state.
Is that who? One of your dancers involved with that one?
I mean, me.
No, I thought not someone else. I'm thinking someone else. But go ahead.
Oh, actually, one of our dancers runs Derby City Consent.
That's it.
So
That's
one,
what-
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Avalon.
Avalon, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
She's a
of.
badass.
Yeah, she's.
She runs Derby City Consent. She'll be performing that night. And she's amazing. She's one of the first performers that I reached out to. But last year, we're like, all right, we're going to take physical donations for the center. We're going to try to raise you the money that you need. Anything over that, like, we'll try to make this work. And it did. And we hit up a lot of our friends and bands, and we're like, hey, we're trying to do this fundraiser for both Virginia and the center. So let's do this together. They jumped on it. It was a very successful event.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and the bands had a blast. So this time around, since Virginia's in a better financial position,
Good. Yeah.
and
Good for you.
all of the funds are going to the Center for Women and Families, all of the bands decided to come back, which is really awesome.
Same. Same
Not
thing?
Almost all of them.
Okay.
No, not all.
Most of them, I should say.
Last year was a beautiful amalgam of different genres and different styles.
Spoken word artists, vaudeville performers,
Solo
solo
artists,
performers.
punk bands, like just lots of fun. And this year is going to be pretty much the same, because I think if anything really touched a chord with people is that we have all been in situations and where we have felt helpless and not able to get closure from the other person because they're just a dick. So one thing that this event helped me, and what I hope it helps anyone and everyone, is to get that closure for yourself. Whereas I can't go to my ex and say, hey, asshole, apologize. You have to. So I got that just by knowing that
You had people support.
I wasn't alone, and it's something that, it's not even something that a lot of people talk about. That, you put your faith and trust in somebody, and then, they fuck you. And really, it can be, it's, fuck that guy. Doesn't even necessarily have to be from a relationship standpoint. You have, a boss who treats you like shit. Fuck that guy.
This is partially in reference to Bevan being kicked out.
Right.
So,
you have a governor that's trying to,
supersede on women's bodies.
Yeah.
Amongst 10 billion
block
other
your
things.
uterus. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You have a president who gives no shits about anyone but himself. Fuck that guy. Like this could be anything, and it doesn't have to be like and I guess it's guy would be more of a male body term, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a dude. It could be anybody.
It's an all gendered situation.
Anyone who you feel like just really treated you like shit. Fuck them. We're about to roll into 2020. We're about to go into a new year, new year, new you, and just leave that shit behind.
And we like that the bands that are jumping on this are very supportive of the Center for Women Families. We're taking physical donations. We are also going to have at the back of the bar, like out in the patio, we're going to have a Toxic X effigy, which went over really well last year. A lot of people
Elaborate, please.
Which I don't know if we should say that we did.
No, yeah.
We didn't.
So here's the thing.
Do it.
So one of our friends. Okay, so there are 4 organizers for this event. Virginia, myself, Alex Schottner, who recently made the website, which is a fantastic website.
Absolutely.
And
thatguy.com.
Yeah, which I'm surprised hadn't been taken.
Plug, right? I know.
Yeah.
That was available.
Yeah.
Fthatguy.
Fthatguy.com.
Yeah.
Or was it? Maybe I messed it up. I think it might be fthatguyfest.com.
Okay. And there's a local artist named Bucky Vanderberg who made our logo, and it's a beautiful logo that she's actually wearing right now.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I just really asked, can you just have like a middle finger coming out of a broken heart? And he was like, say no more, fam. Got this.
And he killed it.
It is. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then Jared Wright of Riot Heart Media is also one of the organizers, and he set us up at the Mag Bar on Black Friday. The Mag Bar is very supportive. They're actually hosting, it being Thanksgiving weekend, they're hosting like 2 nights of fundraisers,
Okay.
which is fantastic. And we're very, very honored that they're doing this. So on Friday, on Black Friday, they're hosting Fuck That Guy, where all of the proceeds go to Center for Women Families. And the following night, they're holding the Kaleidoscope Cabaret, which is Kara Rex's production to raise money for the Louisville Youth Group, which provides advocacy and resources for LGBTQ teens, which, as we know, are teens at risk very much because it is very difficult to come out when you're a kid. So Jared and Alex and Virginia and I, along with all of these bands, we also have a slew of visual artists, femme-identified, who will be selling their art that day, because as Virginia came up with that day, like Black Friday is this consumptive holiday that is a nonsense. So it's like having something else.
Wait in line at the doors at midnight so you can get that TV for just $250.
Right. So in response to that, we're going to be promoting femme artists, Jill Morgan, let's see, Anna Greats, Bonnie Westerfield,
Aaron French,
Jill Morgan, like
Whitney Lee, Katie Keeling.
Tons of amazing visual artists who are going to be selling their wares as well. And each of them are donating one piece of their art for a raffle. All of the proceeds, again, going to the center. And it's going to be a blast.
Is this it's kind of a therapy / purge?
It is.
Kinda, yeah.
One of the best parts, in my
Exactly.
opinion, last year, aside from like the incredible sets and everybody being on board for this, one of the best parts was people coming up and like reading notes that they had written to the people that had hurt them. And then
there wasn't a big production about that, and that
Yeah.
was something that people approached us we did not know.
yeah,
Also, those people were not per se part of the
No.
event. They were
No,
just,
they had just
came-
heard about it,
And
and they
came
heard
and
about
then shared
the idea that we had, and which we should have probably cleared with
Yeah.
the previous venue.
So what
But-
we wanted to do was create a space where people could have a little bit of closure. And so what we're doing this year is allowing people to come and read whatever they want to say, and then also be able to say, I'm done with this person, they're out of my life. And sometimes just being able to say that helps a lot.
I was getting ready to say, do you have enough time for this? And then I looked at the time slot for this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we-
like 5 or 6 hours.
It says 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. I mean, is that correct?
It-
Potentially?
Potentially, yes.
Really?
I mean,
I was gonna say.
there'll be music, just
Yeah.
DJing after.
But yeah.
There'll be a little bit more low key after a while, but
Now,
So-
in fair, well, no, go.
So we should mention, doors are at 6, show does start at 7. We have bands going until about 11:30 or 12. Everything will be done music-wise by 1. In the front room of the Mag Bar, they're going to have Full Speed Fridays. There will be DJs going on afterwards, but we'll be wrapped up by midnight or 1. And I mean, if you want to take it from there, but I could list the bands that are going to be performing.
Fair, go.
yeah, there's Hather's Fire.
So Hather's Fire is incredible. It is a duet of Tristan Brooke and Romana Barith, and they do this really amazing, like bombastic, eclectic mix between the two of them. One on their guitar, she plays like flamenco, and the other on her oud, and they're fantastic performers. Kids Born Wrong is coming back. They played last year. They are noisy, wonderful.
They
Kids
killed it.
Born
They
Wrong.
killed
Yes.
it.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And the Delighters will be coming back. They're going to be ending out our night, and they last year were amazing. Just I love me some good raunchy girl rock. So they hit the spot. It was great. It was lots of fun.
Yeah.
And Bridget Case will be. I believe she said that she's going to be making a piece for this night.
And that's the
And-
spoken
Yes.
word poetry. And okay.
Yeah, and she
did
will
a
also have a
piece
booth.
last year specifically about Trump that like floored the room. Like people's jaws dropped. I mean, it was like one of the most incredible like spoken word performances I had ever seen.
Is there without getting too political, is there kind of a political vibe here too?
I mean, there always can be.
Yeah.
There's
Well, no,
lots.
like can be. Is there?
I think the personal is always political.
Okay.
And especially when you're saying that an event is specifically for the rights of mostly femme-identified folks, although it kind of grows across the board.
Just look at what's happened in the year of politics of how
I'm with you.
abortion bans, blocks, Alabama, Georgia,
No, I'm
Tennessee, Ohio. We've had, and this is what always happens when we go into the gubernatorial elections, is they bring this, the scapegoat back up, where they're like, well, let's focus on this, and I'm the family values person, and yeah, so it can always be political. You kind of got to be, I guess, I don't know. It's kind of crazy not to think that it wouldn't be.
Yeah. And I think here in Kentucky in particular, I mean, you're talking about a predominantly red state. Trump was just here a couple weeks ago to speak for arguably one of the worst governors in the country, who, thank God, got voted out by a very slim margin.
To something.
And so, I mean, in our minds, the personal is always political. So knowing that people can come to an event and have fun and hopefully have a little bit of closure and know that their funds are going to a series of domestic abuse shelters, that is incredibly helpful. We also have a couple groups that are going to be speaking. So the Louisville Shrews is a new project in town that specifically addresses sexual harassment and assault in bars and venues. And they will be speaking, and they are badass punk
I've not
feminists.
heard of them.
And this will be their first public speaking.
Are they relatively new then?
Yeah, it's like kickoff. They're amazing.
What's the name?
The Louisville Shrews.
Okay.
And we'll be posting, if you go on the event page for F That Guy Fest, we'll be posting their page on there as well, so that people can reference it and see their mission statement. Carol will be speaking for the Louisville Youth Group and the event that she's planning to raise money for them. So it's just really nice to have a bunch of artists and musicians and vaudeville performers coming together to be in support of these, because oftentimes, like, we don't know what we can do to address such massive issues and such massive, like, wrongdoings that we see. But if we can actively, like, put our bodies and our night out towards something that will hopefully help others, that is what we're going for.
Yeah, last year was a little bit more raw for me, having just gone through that.
It was recent.
And it really, like I said, it just really helped knowing that what I went through and deciding to make a positive event to celebrate, like, hey, you're done. Like, move on. You know, and it's, you know, closure is not something that you necessarily need to forgive someone for to gain. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to forget what had happened to you. But there is a point in which, in order to grow, you kind of have to cut back on those, you know, dead leaves and those assholes who have hurt you and you know, fucked you over in the past. Those are the dead leaves that you got to cut off.
Without getting too personal, can you elaborate on some of what you went through?
Well,
was there physical?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't physical,
All right.
and perhaps that would have been easier to identify.
Yeah.
It was a way more subtle. So we were together almost 4 years. He was a recovering, and I say that with bunny ears, heroin addict that I thought would be kind of on, like, I could use my positivity to enforce love and support for him, and I thought that would be enough, and it wasn't. He was, as most junkies are, just good at manipulating and turning situations around. I felt isolated, and before I knew it, I was, you know, ignoring blatant lies and overlooking things and thinking I was going nuts, forever doubting anything he would say. You know, just it was more of a hindsight, like realizing that that's what gaslighting is, and that's what it feels like. I felt as though I was putting all the red flags in a closet and just, you know, closing the door and walking away from it, thinking that, you know, it's just a couple. And then you throw a couple more in, oh, it's just a couple. And then, you know, one day you will open that closet and the whole, like, thing will just flood out like an avalanche. And that, you know, that happened. And I made the decision to leave him. And I had him move out. And he took $2,600 with him. He took personal items of mine. And then I found out more stuff. You know, it's once you open those, you know, floodgates, it just keeps coming. You know, he was putting my daughter in unsafe situations and things that I wasn't even aware of, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. You know, I experienced a kind of a break from, like, everything. You know, considering myself you know, a relatively strong person, I didn't think that that would ever happen to me, and to, you know, it taking that, like, that moment where you know, open that closet and you get buried with all those, you know, little red flags that you put away. Right. That's when you're like, well, fuck, this is not cool, and so it is really raw and hard to, you know, especially I was co-emceeing that night, which gives reference for why I had to drink so much tequila. It was, you know, it was challenging, and I had a lot of things in my mind that I was going to say, and when I got up on stage, I just blanked, and, you know, it was tough. But
from the tequila,
from the tequila, from a little bit of the nerves, right, yeah. The nerves and the tequila. I don't know, chicken or the egg, but it was good. There was a lot of positivity. There was a lot of people who were smiling, who were happy,
You weren't by yourself.
I wasn't, and I felt it, and there was one particular person who came up afterwards and shared their story, and their story was horrific, and it just knowing that this event gave them the closure that I had also received was like what I went through. And where we are now, none of it, like everything that happened was for something. And it was, so she could get her story out. It was so that, the next person who came up to me that night got their story out and they felt better.
Right.
And so putting myself out there all of a sudden seems like not a big deal.
I get you, yeah.
Because if I can help one person, then I've done something.
Well, in fairness, it was and still is a big deal because this is something that's continuing. Right or wrong, it was what you went through that brought you all down this road.
Exactly.
And keeps moving.
Yeah.
For a benefit.
Absolutely.
To benefit others. To recognize people. To give people a voice. And
yes. Visibility is so important, especially when you can't immediately answer what happened to you. Your first thought was physical because that's the most tangible. And you can't ever say, like, what point did gaslighting begin?
Right.
What point was the manipulation enough to pull you completely in? And that's not something that you can grasp out of time and say, well, it was this moment.
Right.
And I think that it happens a lot to people and they don't realize it until they're in it and they're dealing with it and they've been dealing with it, and then the thought of not dealing with it anymore becomes scary or like unfamiliar, and will I ever be okay?
Right.
Can I ever be okay? And I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out if I can be with anyone or trust anyone, but I at least know that there are good people. And there are people who need things like this to happen so that they can feel better.
No, I'm a big proponent that I think we all have to kind of veer one way or the other to get us back to the middle.
Oh yeah.
So.
You always have to consider both sides of an argument, of an issue, but your feelings are always valid. And as long as you are willing to work things out within yourself, and I'm not saying that you need to talk to your abuser and you need to work it out with them, that they need to provide anything for you. They've already provided you with enough trauma to help, and it really does help you grow. And I know that now.
Are you totally disengaged from this person?
Absolutely.
You haven't had any?
No. The last time we spoke, he had found out about the event.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with this. It's like,
it's inevitable.
In his, he is kind of like the rhyme and reason for this.
Right. I know his face was originally in my mind going to be the flyer, and I was going to put it all over his truck when he parked at the methadone clinic.
Oh God!
But I didn't.
Glad it didn't come to that.
And it didn't. I reined it back in. I mean, I got a little vindictive for a minute.
Yeah.
It was revenge is sweet, I guess.
I'm curious, what was his reaction?
He, out of the blue, messaged me and said, "Go, leave me alone. Go play victim somewhere else." And
wow, turn it around on you.
I had actually just kind of came out of a very dark place. That wasn't even a month after. I didn't know what to do. I felt like kind of almost like at a breakdown, a mental breakdown. I checked myself into Baptist because I wasn't sure what I was capable of. So I received that message, and I immediately started like feverishly typing, like, what the fuck are you talking about, motherfucker? But then it kind of dawned on me, like, why am I doing this? Like, why is this still eliciting this, immediate response? My stomach was in knots. I felt like I, could have just like hyperventilated to death.
Is this your closure?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's not even really, at this point, it's not even about me. It's not about...
no, well, then.
Oh, then?
Last year.
Yeah, I think it actually came at a time that I was ready.
Okay.
And so we, when planning an event, you've got to like think, months in advance. And so we knew about the date, and we knew about getting it all together. And we've done a couple events before, so it wasn't our first rodeo, although it was definitely a wild ride. They all are, which is why it's so much fun. It's a hobby.
It's not.
So we don't get paid, but it's so much fun.
So much fun.
But it came at a time that I was ready to stop being angry. That I wasn't like a raging fire in my belly anymore. It was more like a grumble that would, occasionally would kind of spike up. My whole day would just be consumed by this roller coaster ride of being angry, sad, depressed, guilty, because there was a lot of guilt in there for myself that I had to make peace with. As a mother, as a woman, as a strong individual, these are things that I never thought. My mom never raised me this way. She raised me as a single mother. She would never condone this behavior. So it was like, well, there was a lot of that in there, and I had pretty much gotten to a point that I was comfortable. I wasn't okay, but I was comfortable. I was much better. And so that just kind of, it closed it. And then after that, I was able to pay my landlady the money I had owed her, which he had taken, and break that on amicable terms and move out of that situation and all those memories. And all that was just, it was good. I still have crippling debt because he maxed out credit cards and took out personal loans to pay for other months of missed rent, but at least I don't have any of that anymore. So it's been much better. It's kind of cool.
Again, it's going to be on Black Friday at the Mag Bar. So that'll be doors at 6. Everything kicks off at 7.
It's $10, but we'll knock off 2 if you want to bring a goods donation.
Define that, because it says 8 if you bring an approved donation. What is that? Well,
the Center for Women and Families has an approved list on their website,
gotcha,
and we've also shared it too. They no longer take clothing donations,
but toiletries.
Unopened, please.
Unopened. Things that can be used for families, especially with children, and especially with it becoming the colder months, what we can bring. In fact, I can pull up the list right now.
Go for it.
Sorry, I don't want to keep you guys.
Well, I know it's like diapers and soap, body wash,
gotcha,
shampoo, and they do ask they're unopened.
Yeah.
So we had people.
You can actually find these tickets on fthatguyfest.com.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Which, Alex worked really hard.
Not pulling up.
No, I'm having a lot of
tell me
trouble.
what's the name of the site or whatever. You got it.
It should be in our discussion.
Is it?
Of the event.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Like a post that was made.
Discussion.
Trying to find the actual list that they gave us.
And gift cards also work really well because that's something that they can give directly.
It's not pulling up right now, unfortunately. But I would like to say some of the other bands that we had not mentioned. Drummer will be coming back. He's a fantastic solo artist that will be playing. Margaret O'Malley's band will be playing as well. from the Bazaar, we will have, like you said, Vivienne La Resistance, who also runs Derby City Consent. Lana Nirvana, who's a fantastic drag queen.
Which I just want to say, last year, Lana Nirvana taped a picture of my ex on a pumpkin, and that was a stuffed body on stage, and slaughtered it, and it gave me so much life.
It was very sweet.
It's probably hands down my favorite moment of the whole night.
On the centeronline.org site, there's a donating to the center needed items. It breaks it down actually by state, Kentucky and Indiana. Interesting. That's all in Kentucky for baby diapers, wise bags, monitor children, backpacks, school supplies, cleaning material, clothing, dining, health, cough and cold medicine, antacids, hygiene. Yeah, so okay. Linens.
Here we go. Required fields. That's still not pulling up. I apologize.
Well, he got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He just read from it.
And they do partner with Goodwill for gently used clothing items as well. So we'll be taking hopefully quite a bit. And yeah, so we're excited for next week.
It is. Yeah, God, Jesus Christ.
Right?
Yeah, Thanksgiving is next week.
It is.
It's already upon us.
Hard. You know how many days before Christmas? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I like Christmas and all, but I'm not one of those, like, my internal clock is ticking.
I would say 27. Is that correct?
No, well, it can't be because today's the 19th, so there'd be 6.
Oh no, I mean like from the point of F that Guy
them.
Fest to Christmas. I think it's 27 or 28.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I don't like to math on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I can't math.
You don't like to do math on a Tuesday. Okay. Friday, November 29th.
Yeah, if you want
Doors
to.
open at 6. Event starts at 7.
It is $10 or $8 if you want to bring in a donation as well. Bring in a couple extra bucks if you would like to buy a piece of art from some of the artists that will be there that night.
Effigies and, you know, all the burning tools.
Mag Bar is located at 1398 South 2nd Street.
Old Faithful.
That logo.
Right? Isn't it beautiful?
Becky made a beautiful logo.
It's
just-
very cool.
There's no need
Jeez.
to do anything else. It's perfect. I want to get it
Like it.
tattooed on my ass one day.
Are you actually performing?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So another thing that I would like to mention, if people are feeling in the given mood for Thanksgiving weekend, the night afterwards, Saturday the 30th, Kaleidoscope Cabaret is raising money for the Louisville Youth Group.
Mag Bar as well.
At Mag Bar as well, yes. And that will be drag performers, burlesque dancers, sideshow folks, as well as the Human Project, which is a collective of incredible musicians from all over Louisville who will be doing this like amazing psych project. So if people are feeling the giving mood, they should come to both.
Yeah.
Are you involved with that one?
I was asked to perform for it, yes. So I'll be helping out. My buddy Kara is organizing the whole thing with her husband, and he runs the Human Project. So it's going to be a combination of performance art, or vaudeville performers, as well as musicians.
Very cool.
So 2 great nights. F That Guy and Kaleidoscope Cabaret.
It's great. How long? How long do you see this going on?
For like a 3rd annual, 4th annual.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, as long as people feel like it helps, and as long as I can, because it's something that every person that has.
Sad but true that those scenarios are not going away.
I know, and they won't, but at least there's something that maybe people can look forward to, or that people can, expect and
I
be
like
happy.
I think it's kind of cool that you're giving people a platform just to, because I'm sure there's probably at least one person that will hopefully come in there who has not spoken out loud or talked about this, and this has inspired them to come and do it. And,
Exactly. Throw your middle fingers up.
yeah. As simple as that.
And just say fuck
And
that
be
guy.
around, some not minded. I was not the bright. Well, I guess like-minded. So
People
Like-
have
like
been
that.
through similar experiences.
That's it.
Yeah, it always feels better when you know that you're not the only one, and it's so easy, especially coming out of an abusive relationship, to feel isolated, because that's their job. Or that was your abuser's job, was to make you feel as though you are the only one experiencing this, and that your feelings are not valid, they are meaningless, and that's not true, and that's hella not true. It's not right. And if anyone were to come in, I would want them to feel safe. I'd want them to feel comfortable. And if they want to speak their truth, if they want to say what happened, or if they don't, they just want to have a drink and raise a glass, that's awesome. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, this exists for anyone who's ever needed it.
Right.
And as long as people need it, and if people are seeing a benefit from it, I will do the best I can to keep it going.
Very cool. And if so, you'll be here next year this time.
And if you want to come by, you'll meet the other organizers next week.
Yeah, I might.
So Jared Wright and Alex Schottner, they've
Like
put a lot of
Brian.
work into this.
Yeah.
And we're very honored to work with them as well for round 2.
Yeah.
I will do my best, because I would actually. I'm interested to seeing how people are interacting.
Yeah.
With everyone. So very cool. I think it's great. Obviously, it's benefiting a group, and keep doing it. As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
And thank you for having us on to talk about it.
always. And I need to come and just on one of your other show nights, come and check you out and your cast of characters.
Please do.
All right, ladies. Anything else you need, just holler, reach out.
Awesome.
And,
Thank you so much.
good luck with
Thank
this.
you.
All right.